Welcome to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. Happy Monday. I think it was supposed to be Black Monday or something, according to Jim Cramer. We were all going to die because of President Trump's tariffs. Now, we've seen the global shakeup in all of that. And, I will just say, remember, he said Happy Liberation Day last week when he announced all of these reciprocal tariffs on all of these other countries, which I just would like to remind you guys as we go through the current situation here. These are all countries that had already placed tariffs on us. So all we were doing, people say the United States, President Trump is starting a trade war. No. The trade war was started a long time ago, decades ago. We just refused to actually suit up and play in the game. We just allowed them to score touchdown after touchdown after touchdown while not fighting back. All right, so let's get that straight. So Liberation Day, in that sense, it was not some sort of a gimmick where President Trump came out and called, oh, it's Liberation Day. Oh, that sounds cute. We'll just see if it sticks. No, actually, it was the moment that I would say maybe globalization got hit by a Mack truck. And when you look at the legacy media, you see, you just have to pay attention to who all of this is pissing off, who is outraged by all of this. And that's how you know you might be over the target, because the legacy media wants everyone to think that the sky is falling. They say, oh my gosh, the New York Times, globalization is collapsing. Brace yourselves. Let's not forget who these people are. They are America last. They have proven that for decades. They are open borders. They are, of course, a globalist paradise. And the world's supposed elites were no cheerier. You had UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who wrote in The Telegraph, first it was defense and national security. Now it is the global economy and trade. Old assumptions can no longer be taken for granted. The world as we knew it has gone. We must rise to meet the moment. And you had also Canada's interim Prime Minister, Mark Carney. He himself, a central banker, he was, I would say, just as grim. Watch.
The global economy is fundamentally different today than it was yesterday. The system of global trade anchored on the United States that Canada has relied on since the end of the Second World War, a system that, while not perfect, has helped to deliver prosperity for our country for decades, is over. Our old relationship of steadily deepening integration with the United States is over. The 80-year period when the United States embraced the mantle of global economic leadership, when it forged alliances rooted in trust and mutual respect, and championed the free and open exchange of goods and services, is over. Well, this is a tragedy. It is also the new reality.
Oh, poor us. The United States finally decided that they were not going to tolerate getting the bad end of the deal anymore. Oh, poor us. We thought that they were global leaders, but it turns out they're not. No, I mean, we're just embracing that again. Now, it gets worse, or I don't know, maybe better, depending on your perspective. You guys are I hope you're sitting for this. China, I wish Matt Marsden was here to give me a China. China is now calling President Trump a bully for imposing reciprocal tariffs. Again, reciprocal is the key word here. He is a bully for doing to them what they are doing to us. And you really, when you hear this stuff, you just couldn't even make it up. Watch. The U.S. approach is a typical act of unilateralism, protectionism, and economic bullying, which causes harm to others while backfiring on itself.
Threats and pressure are not the right way to deal with China, a Chinese foreign ministry spokesperson said on Monday after describing U.S. President Donald Trump's reciprocal tariffs as bullying.
Oh, it's bullying now. But was China a bully for imposing the tariffs in the first place, or that's just President Trump? That President Trump gets that moniker, not anybody else. And you have to ask yourself, why are all of Trump's opponents in America acting like our nation's adversaries didn't impose them first? Why would they be acting as if this was the first strike in a long-term trade war? Because they are just intellectually dishonest. That is why. That is the only conclusion that you can come to on this. And if they have to undermine the stock market to get Trump, to prove that they were right about President Trump, to prove that President Trump was all the bad things that they said that he was, then that is what they plan to do. They want to feed the hysteria to prove their point. Now, some people probably plan on capitalizing off of the panic selling because they're taking a longer view on the goal to revitalize American manufacturing. And I want to, we did a show late last week, where we did a little then and now with all of these Democrats who are now acting like, again, the globe is on fire because President Trump decided that he was going to take the lead in all of these trade imbalances. But you had Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, who has really, I would say, changed his tune dramatically, because I want to play for you. This is Chuck Schumer in 2005 advocating for a 27.5% tariff on China. Watch.
And worst of all, the Chinese, despite the fact that they have tremendous advantages by the rules of free trade, pile on and add unfair rules that violate free trade. And at the top of that list is the fact that the Chinese peg their currency abnormally low so that their exports get a 27% advantage here in the United States. Our imports get a 27% disadvantage when sold in China. Every tenet of free trade, if you believe in it, says they should not peg their currency.
Isn't that so interesting how now Orange Man bad and all of the things that they were saying were absolutely true are now not absolutely true anymore? So President Trump, not playing around, obviously. He fired off a salvo to China that he will double down if he has to. Over on Truth Social, he posted yesterday, China issued retaliatory tariffs of 34% on top of their already record-setting tariffs, non-monetary tariffs, illegal subsidization of companies, and massive long-term currency manipulation. Despite my warning that any country that retaliates against the U.S. by issuing additional tariffs above and beyond their already existing long-term tariff abuse of our nation will be immediately met with new and substantially higher tariffs over and above those initially set. Therefore, if China does not withdraw its 34% increase above their already long-term trading abuses by tomorrow, April 8th, the United States will impose additional tariffs on China of 50% effective April 9th. Additionally, all talks with China concerning their requested meetings with us will be terminated. Negotiations with other countries which have also requested meetings will begin taking place immediately. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, as you can see from all of this, now I know that there was some fake news that was generated over the weekend that was like, there's going to be a 90-day pause on tariffs already. No, this is all part of the plan. President Trump and the administration have all been very clear that this is perhaps a short-term pain for a much longer-term balancing of trade, which will pay off tremendously in the long run. And President Trump, I know, in his another Truth Social post, he suggested that people maybe have some perspective on this. Okay, oil prices are down, interest rates are down. The slow-moving Fed should cut the rates. Let's see. He has food prices are down. There is no inflation. And the long-time abused USA is bringing in billions of dollars a week from the abusing countries on tariffs that are already in place. This is despite the fact that the biggest abuser of them all, China, whose markets are crashing, just raised its tariffs by 34% on top of its long-term ridiculously high tariff. Not acknowledging my warning for abusing countries to not retaliate. They've made enough for decades, taking advantage of the good old USA. Our past leaders are to blame for allowing this and so much else to happen to our country. Make America great again. Again, it's just like, if you are, I don't know, let's say that you are an elitist, all right? You make millions of dollars in the stock market. You really care about this, right? Let's also say that you are perhaps a day trader on Wall Street and you're like, oh my gosh, everything's down. The world is doomed. Global trading is down. Look at the stock market. Look at the crashes. But we're not all elitists and we're not all Wall Street traders. And to your average American on Main Street, this is a much needed course correction. If you like this clip and you want to see the full episode, click here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, come on, you know you do. Click here.